Here's one. My son has seasonal allergies. He is allergic to pollens. I have a stuffy nose when there's lots of pollens. We already have a dairy-free and gluten-free diet. So what can I do to ease my family's allergies?
Well, the answer is, because we're not prescribing drugs here, the answer is that we are saying get healthy. That's really the answer. So you want to build up the immune system, give them lots of antioxidants, a lot of vitamin C, B vitamins, and and eat really well, and eat as much live food as possible, and no dairy. Those are the best things. I'm not going to give specifics because sometimes you have to have specific treatments for specific, and avoid the foods. And
many pollens. Yeah.
Well, there are some things out there that are kind of homeopathic for general seasonal allergies, pollens and stuff that you take all year round. You can get them at Allergy Research, and you can get them here too. And they help. Okay. Next question.
Okay. This is from Nicholas Cranny in Toronto. I'm 56 years old, and I've been transitioning to live food for almost 2 years. How important is it to eat sprouts and wheatgrass juice grown with ocean water? And which ocean water products do you prefer, ocean grown or sea mineral? Those are two available.
Okay, well, we use ocean grown here, as far as I understand. Mm-hmm. I think they're probably both good. They're competing companies, but they're using the same formulas and approaches, as far as I understand. I'm not positive. Sprouts grown that way are, as far as we can tell, are better, and that's is what we do with the Tree of Life. We grow our sprouts with ocean grown, and they seem to be a lot richer, a lot stronger.
Thank you. Okay. What is your opinion about the 80-10-10 or 8-1-1 diet as a way to eliminate candida? According to his theory, high percentage of glycemic fruits do not alone cause candida. Problems arise when fat comes into the picture at greater than 10%. Does this produce?
He's citing one study that supports it. There's many studies that support that sugar is the main cause of candida and a poor bowel flora. Okay, that's the number one cause. People have done that diet. We see lots of them who come in very angry because they did that diet and they got candida. Because it's a setup for getting candida. High fruit diets are much more likely to cause candida than a green diet. Put it that way. Yes, the fat thing is an interesting idea. There was one study, it made a small study, it made a little bit of a suggestion, but by and large, a high, 80% food diet is going to cause a variety of problems, including diabetes. We see lots of people, the diabetics are very susceptible. There was a person that had some diabetes and he did like a 60-day juice feasting thing, and then he ate a whole pineapple and his blood sugar went completely out of balance for 3 weeks. I test on our diabetics all the different fruits, and invariably their blood sugar goes skyrocketing. Incidentally, that's how I know why we're not recommending a whole lot of sweeteners, because they're saying, quote, low glycemic sweeteners, but you have a person who's diabetic or pre-diabetic, their blood sugar will shoot up. So none of that really holds. And so, again, this is based on personal research, but also in the literature, there is no question about it. The literature overwhelmingly will tell you a high sugar diet, which includes a fruit diet, is going to be a strong cause, precipitant of candida. Now, you can be an exceptional metabolism, you can be very extreme, what we call slow oxidizer, or sympathetic, and you'll have less of an effect because you can deal with the sugar in a different way. But that's the 1% of the population. And one of the problems with a lot of these special diets are that they're really not meant for everybody. They're meant for that small subgroup who can succeed on it. And then that becomes, it works for me. This is a supreme ego statement. It works for me. It must be good for everybody else. Of course, I challenge whether it actually is really working for that person, but that's who developed the diet. But that's not the point. The point is, he probably does better than most people, eating 8 bananas a day or whatever, 16 bananas a day. That's okay. That may work for him. I question that, but it may. But the point is, for most people, that's not going to work. Okay. And we have to be very careful about isolation. That's what Gabriel just talks about. Every constitution is different. We have 30,000 genes in about 200,000 gene variations. Do you think we're going to have the same diet? Same needs? Of course not. And we have to take that into consideration. But by and large, if you eat enough food, unless you're really at the extreme end of the constitutional variance, you're going to bring on, you're going to activate more likely Candida versus not. Now you can maybe show a case. There's always an exception, but the exception isn't really the rule. So when we look at research, we always have to look at what's all the research say, not, oh, this is an exception. I cured somebody Candida giving them food. That's not what you usually see out there. You really see, just the opposite. And I see many people coming in who went on this diet and they get Candida. Because they weren't the exception.
Candida?
Yeah. It's just like diabetes. The research is extremely clear. There's 2 major causes of diabetes. Number 1, sugar. Whenever sugar has been introduced into a culture, within 20 years, there's an outbreak of diabetes. Okay. Also, they found that people who eat a lot of high animal fat products, cooked animal fat, cooked saturated animal fat, also tend to get more insulin resistance and higher rates of diabetes. But it's nowhere near what we see when we introduce sugar into the environment, a person's environment. And there's been very interesting studies. One was the Yemenite Jews who eat a high-fat, animal fat diet, okay? But no sugar, no diabetes. Then they come to Israel, but there's a lot of sugar, and they just go skyrocketing their diabetes. Same thing happened to the Eskimos. High, raw, animal fat blubber, and not much diabetes. They introduced sugar 20 years later. It's called the 20-year rule. Bing. They now have an outbreak of diabetes. So it's sugar primarily, and then high animal cooked fat secondary. But even we have societal exceptions. I mean, let's look at studies, not one person. We're talking about a whole society, who comes to Israel, who was eating the Yemenite Jews, a particular diet, and then boom, they switch, and then suddenly it breaks out. I think this is also true, and I can't remember it, is Ethiopian Jews, because there's a lot of people from Ethiopia who have come to Israel who have the Davidic bloodline, and same kind of thing happened. They're on the low sugar diet, they come to Israel, boom. They're eating meat and stuff, but then diabetes 20 years later. So that's the thing. We've got to be more really scientific. We can't just say, oh, I can cite one case where this happened, therefore it's true for everybody. This is really, really poor research.
Okay. A lot of questions.
Poor logic, too. Poor scientific logic.